Did you know formaldehyde can enter a home through products like engineered wood, furniture, computers, carpeting, treated fabrics, hairsprays, and cleaning materials? These potentially harmful VOCs can circulate throughout indoor living spaces and affect the air you breathe. According to the EPA, poor indoor air quality has been linked to headaches, fatigue, allergies, asthma, and more. The good news is you can ensure your client's air is clean with Certainteed Air Renew Drywall. Air Renew Indoor Air Quality Drywall is the first of its kind, patent-pending drywall that actively cleans the air by permanently removing formaldehyde. When airborne formaldehyde comes in contact with the board through normal air circulation, Air Renew Drywall captures the formaldehyde and converts it into a safe, inert compound, keeping it safely within the drywall. Air Renew Drywall cuts, installs, and finishes just like regular drywall and comes in Type X, moisture, and mold resistant for multiple solutions. The board looks, installs, and finishes just like standard drywall. It also is available in MT2 Tech moisture and mold resistant and Type X, so it can help fit multiple. Indoor air performance tests prove that Air Renew permanently removes formaldehyde. It has been validated by their ULE through their Environmental Claims Validations program. It works with most water-based acrylic and epoxy-based paints. Go ahead and check out Certainteed Saint-Gobain Air Renew VOC Eating Drywall today.
Well, I want to welcome you to Behind the Drywall Tour, an all-electric LEED Platinum pending home. This course is approved for half an hour in continuing education units, AIBD, ARI Green, Certified Green, and Certified Green Home Professional, and LEED Accredited Professional in Homes, as well as could be applicable to your local design-based or contractor state-based license. Course is also approved for AIA HSW at half an hour as well. Today I'll be your producer, interviewer, camera phone operator. My name is Brett Little, and I am the executive director here at the nonprofit, the Green Home Institute. Now we're going to be bringing you behind the scenes on the most innovative, creative, and sustainable residential structures, new construction, renovation, urban, rural, suburban, you name it, throughout the rest of the 2018, 19, 2020. So join us as we get behind the scenes and bring you there throughout the country. This particular session is going to be focused on Nathan, who's an architect, who's going to be taking us behind the drywall of Evanston's first LEED Platinum pending home. And then we're going to head south down to the riverfront in Chicago and take a look at one of his all-electric homes and how they achieve that. Very interesting stuff. We're going to be talking a lot, not about just the LEED features of energy and health or materials, but we're also going to be looking at backup batteries and electric car state charging and just sort of the future of all electric homes and where we're headed. So I hope you'll join us and have a great time.
Nate Kipnis, I'm the principal of Kipnis Architecture Plus Planning. We're the architects for this house. And this was a very interesting home. The owner wanted a smaller house, but wanted it super efficient. And she said, let's go for LEED. And we knew we really wanted to go for platinum. And I'll talk about that more in a little bit, but it is going to easily make platinum if everything shakes out. We're in very, very good shape. The idea with this house, it's on 2 lots. And so to make it as efficient as possible, we wanted to really make the architecture reflect some natural ventilation and natural daylighting, and also a very interesting structural system. So the shape of this house has this butterfly roof that you'll see in a minute, and really tight insulation, great mechanicals, all the appliances and everything. What we wanted to do to get to LEED Platinum was make sure this was all integrated in a really great architectural package. And by doing that, then of course we're going to submit for the 2030 commitment. And I'm a member of the National AIA's 2030 committee, the working group. And so what that is we want to get the standard house, a standard detached house in the Midwest has an EUI of 49.5, and we want to be 70% or better on that. That's the current goal that we're shooting for, and every 5 years it goes down by 10% till we're carbon neutral by 2030. So this is the first house that we've had actually meet that. That's a heavy challenge to hit 70. So this one's at 74. So from the baseline of 49.5, we're down to 13. And again, it took every single element trying to get that to work together to get that goal to be met. And this is going to be Evanston's first LEED home. Obviously, it'll be the first LEED Platinum home. It's kind of surprising. Evanston's very progressive with everything, energy and all of that. There's lots of LEED buildings here, but surprisingly, there was not a LEED home. So we're very honored to be the first one through the gate with that. Hopefully, a lot more will come after that. I can talk about the partners just real quick. I mentioned our firm is involved with this. We're a 5-person firm based out of Evanston. Dwelling Spaces Places has been really great. They're the interior design, but also for aging in place and many other aspects of that. Chardon Builders is our general contractor. Spirited Gardeners doing the landscape, which is, if you've never done LEED, I will tell you there's a tremendous amount of points associated with landscape. We're grateful for everything she was able to do. City of Evanston's been very helpful. We have a new mayor, Stephen Haggerty. The alderman is Ann Rainey, also has been very helpful and is very proud of the work we're doing. The 2 homes that were here were deconstructed, and they were done by Evanston Rebuilding Exchange. And that allows us to get a really great tax credit along with being able to recycle a lot of the products in the house. Structural Engineers, the structural shop, and Eco Achievers did the energy rating and was our lead consultant, and they have been for a very long time. So good team that we put together here.
Great. Let's go on in.
All right, well, yeah, let's go take a look. So here you can start to see the shape of the house. And it's actually a very simple shape, and I mean, that's what's so fun about this house. These beams crisscross, and they then form the butterfly roof. And so the roof, you know, roofs in the past used to just keep the water out, and now the roofs are doing so many things for us. We've got PV panels. We have a 7.2 kW system on the roof here, which is a good size system. The vertical faces off of that roof are awning windows that are on remotes so that we can get natural ventilation. Sometimes when we do these houses, when we put them on both sides, we'll have them available to open up separately. And when we can open them separately, maybe there's a noisy part on one side and we open up the less noisy part, or we want cross ventilation a certain way. So that's really good. We're also getting some water collection off the back side from the butterfly roof. And you'll see when we go inside, the beams are really the main feature here. I mean, it was really astonishing. When we were putting these up, people were walking by thinking we were building a church, and it was really kind of a funny comment, but I can see why they said that. You can see the insulation system and the siding, and this is getting to be kind of our standard wall construction. 2x6 wall with cellulose, which we'll see when we go inside. And then on the outside, 2 inches of expanded polystyrene, not extruded. And then it's all set on a Henry blueskin. You can just barely see that. That's behind the insulation. Then we've got furring strips, and then our siding on top of that. The siding on this house is also very interesting. So we got some little section up top that's cement fiberboard, but the main part of the house is boral siding. And this is newer, and I think this is really great. It's waste fly ash from coal plants mixed with a binder, and it is totally impervious to water. Good luck to the insects, you know, all that. Super durable, and they've got some really great profiles. Here we've got a square edge profile, really crisp and clean. We're going to miter the corners, as you can see there. So, you know, and then the windows are on bucks. They're projected out so that they're flush out when they're finished. In this case, we did a home with no trim. We wanted it really sleek and clean. We've got the black windows, and I mean, that's a really good representation of that corner. It's nice that it's in that particular state of construction right now.
Great, let's go in and...
Yeah. So actually, before we even go in, to just talk about the front, this is going to be clad in stone, and it's just going to look like stone with glass on either side, And then inside, this space that's in the front is the shape of the fireplace, which is stone. So it's as if, from an architectural standpoint, the stone here just got shoved back and it all lines up. And then where these stone piers are, it's glass going out. So it's just kind of like a little puzzle put together. Here we are on the inside, and the main space is the main focal point. It's just all open, and it goes really high up, and you can see the beams crisscrossing. When this is all drywall, this is just going to be unbelievable because the structure is all going to be hidden except for these beams, and it's just going to look like it's floating up here. You can see each side's got 6 awning windows. Again, those are on remotes. We can open either side up if we want, or both. And it just really helps define the space. So when you walk in, you're in the great common space here. There's going to be an electric fireplace, which is something I'm anxious to see. This is from the client. It's like a digital fireplace. I don't really know how to explain it. It's not an electric one like you might be used to seeing, but it does produce some heat. This house has no natural gas line. And that was really an important concept from the very beginning. We have issues with natural gas for a bunch of reasons. One of them is fracking. You know, people come to me and go, fracking sucks, what can we do? We can't do anything. They feel real frustrated. I'm like, well, here's what we can do. We can build a house without a natural gas line. And the other reason we thought about doing that and did that is because the service charge natural gas keeps going up, but they don't raise the power cost. And it's kind of frustrating because we do all these efficiency things and we don't see any savings with expensive fuel. You're paying the service charge no matter what. So we decided, you know what, we're just going to not use them. Some other features in here, the space is wide open going this way. So we've got the kitchen here. We've got, you know, as I mentioned, dwelling space in place has been awesome for helping out with all the interior materials. Most everything, if not everything, is made in the U.S. It's all local. It's all recycled content. It's just incredible. She's done a really great job. So the kitchen is here. We've got a mudroom there that leads to the garage, which has 2 charging stations in it. And then that's the pantry over there, so kind of symmetrically coming out. And then when we look across, her one kind of fun item in the house that was an absolute must is she wanted a little lap pool, a little resistance pool. And so it's in this space, which is going to be insulated very a bit differently to handle the moisture. We've got a different mechanical system in here. And so that's going to be recessed down. And it'll just be kind of fun that it's actually visible right in this space here. Should we just keep going through?
Yeah.
So the way we set this up is there's different wings off of this main space. So the garage I mentioned is one wing. In the front, in the corner here, which we'll go into in a little bit, is an office space. And then there's a guest wing over there, and then this is the master. And the master is, of course, a little longer. There's a workout room, laundry, etc. But that helps form a courtyard out in the back that she really wanted to have. I mean, this is also like a key thing to have, like this kind of Spanish influence courtyard back here. This is walking past the laundry, and then we're into the master bedroom. So we've got a walk-in closet, the master bath, and then we got the bedroom. So one of the interesting things is, and the reason we have these windows up like this is the L tracks are in the back. So very noisy. And she had lived on this site, and she just thought this is going to be noisy, noisy, noisy. There was nothing I could do to convince her that this will be incredibly quiet. We all know when we do super efficient houses, it's a given that we're going to have a tight house, and sound really isn't going to be part of it. But she wanted these windows raised up. So one thought is the bed is here, and I think that's where she's going to do it. And we also set it up that it's possible to have the bed here looking out into the courtyard. And we've got the sloping ceiling here. we're using these glue lambs, which are covered up right now because they're going to insulate up in the ceiling. But the glue lambs are a great structural element because they are laminated. So it's not like a giant piece of a tree that's bent, it's smaller pieces that are laminated. So all the lights in here are LEDs, and should we go up into the front?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna walk towards this one bedroom. We'll talk about the entire wall system, the window system up there. So, actually 2 rooms here. One is the office, and the one right here is the cat room. We can notch that onto our list of different rooms we've done. So now we've done dog rooms and cat rooms. So this is showing the insulation system. This is 2x6 wall, and it's got rock wool blown in, and net and blow, and so this is to the density of, you know, like a mattress. So we like the fluffy material on the inside. If humidity goes in, it'll come right back out, no big deal. Up on the ceiling, because we have a cathedral ceiling, this is the biofoam. It's a closed cell foam. We generally only use closed cell foam on cathedral ceiling applications. On the outside of the building is 2 inches of, like I said, expanded polystyrene. So that completes our insulation system. So fluffy stuff on the interior, and then the foam air barrier on the outside. And that Henry blue skin helps everything because it's behind that. This house, like many municipalities around here, the orange is all the fire sprinkler system. So that's been installed. The mechanical system is all based on mini splits. And so we have, I believe, 5 systems. This is about a 3,200 square foot house. So each one controls basically one of the pods. So we've got one for this section, one for the master, one for the guest room, and I think there's a separate one for the kitchen. I'm sorry, there's one for the pool, and then the one for the kitchen great room. The windows that we have are Marvin Integrity. We like them because they're pultruded fiberglass on the outside, and what that does is fiberglass and glass are the same coefficient of expansion, so we like that. The windows are low E coated. Heat sees it as a mirror at its frequency, at its wavelength. Argon filled. And we also have the solar heat gain coefficients by orientation. So we like to do that where on west windows we have a very low solar heat gain coefficient. On the south kind of a medium, and on the north a very high one. It's like an easy way, super inexpensive, I think like 0 cost, to be able to smartly handle that. I think that's probably it in here. I think we have a smart thermostat. I believe it's the Lyric thermostat, and what that allows us is we can do geofencing with that. So what that is we'll have the hour by hour, day by day thermostat settings programmed in there, but on top of that, when you leave, you set the distance you want to be away, and when it knows your cell phone is 2 miles away, it then turns the system down even lower. And then when you come back, it turns it back up, you come in, and it's all good. You didn't even know it was a different temperature. So just another way to get it a little more efficient.
Now you were mentioning you have the, I believe, the ducted cassette.
So
heat
yeah,
pumps, mini splits.
so the mini splits, there's lots of different ways to do them. We're bigger fans of the ducted system. The wall mounted is our least favorite. I don't like the way it looks at all. And when we get into a ceiling mounted only, without the duct, some people don't like the look of it, and also given how much we had with cathedral ceilings here, it didn't really make too much sense. So the ducted allows us to locate a unit and then pull a duct into 1 or 2 little ancillary rooms, so maybe a closet or a master bath or a laundry or something. So you can, I think you can do the main space and then 2 adjacent spaces, and that kind of sets up how extensive, how many units you're going to need. It also, by having 5 different units, it allows us to really kind of isolate the rooms. So that guest wing, no one, someone might not be in the guest wing for weeks at a time. So that can be turned way down without impacting the rest of the house. The pool room can be tuned a certain way. And the office, more than likely, the main space is that family room, kitchen area, the great room, and the master bedroom. Those are probably the two that would be on the vast majority of the time.
And what about the ventilation system?
So we have, I believe we have two separate ERVs. One is for the pool room only. The pool room, because of its higher humidity and everything else, has some special needs that we needed to handle with that. The other ERV does the rest of the house. The solar panels are set up, we can talk about that. Like I said, it's a 7.2 system, which is pretty darn good. I can't remember the solar fraction that's providing, but it's pretty significant. I think it's either upper 30s or low 40s. I'd have to double check. But what we're doing is we've got our circuit box with all of our switches, but we have a separate sub panel with our emergency loads. So the emergency loads are going to be our sump pump, our refrigeration equipment, the garage door, and then like a few rooms of lights, and a ceiling fan, and I believe the operable windows, the operable transom clear story windows, so we can get natural ventilation if we need it. And I'm pretty sure we have at least one of the mini splits set up on it. So like if push comes to shove, if everything goes bad, there's the ability to power up certain parts. We're also going to have a 10 kW backup battery. So, given that we don't have a natural gas line, we've had to do a couple things. So that's one of them. We don't have a gas powered generator. And so that battery backup will kick on when it needs to and keep the house running, which is really good. The other 4 items that are typically gas powered in a house are going to be your furnace, and we just talked about the mini splits, so those are all electric. An induction cooktop instead of a gas cooktop. Induction is just really great. We have been seeing that most of the chefs now are moving towards that. Super efficient, not old school like your father's electric stove, not with the little curly cues. This is amazingly fast and even and safe. And then that leaves the dryer and the water heater. So both of those are hybrids, which is similar to the mini split system. It's like a condenser setup. The trickier thing is the water heater takes a little bit of time to recover, because what it's doing is it's taking heat out of the air and putting out cold air. And so it's a little bit slower recovery. There is a mode you can flip it into in electric mode and speed that up if you need to. I think she'll be fine. We did not put a bathtub in the master bath. We try and discourage that. I mean, people obviously can, we're not going to shame anyone if they put a tub in, but we try and discourage it. So she does not have a tub there, and I think her hot water use will be pretty limited. We did put in an 80-gallon tank just because with these hybrid ones you want the biggest you can get, just to keep a steady stock of hot water.
And those are, you've got probably water sense or lower, at least.
Oh yeah, so we got all the, yes, and everything's made in America, and that was very difficult to find for plumbing. And then we have a occupancy sensor hot water demand hot water setup. So when she opens the door, the sensor will fire up the pump to bring the hot water in. And normally you don't walk in and rush to a hot water. Whatever you do, and then by the time you get there, you'll have your hot water.
Sure.
So that's a nice setup too. It's nice to see over the years the technology getting to the point where it's so simple to do these things that really do impact the efficiency of the building. So good to see. I'm not sure what else we should talk about. That covers a lot of it.
Well, I had a few other questions, but let's kind of move into keep things moving a little bit. My question was, I was looking at, and for everybody who's listening live, we'll show you some photos of the roof. But I was looking at the the space available on the roof, and looking at the you've got electric car chargers. So I assume the homeowner is going to be having electric cars.
At some point, in the rendering, we have a VW minibus. I just thought that was, she's a child of the 60s and really a good sport about it. But VW is coming out with an electric minibus, so who knows? But you know, we always set up for a charging station. It's so easy. It's just a conduit, smart run of conduit, a couple $100, and it's crazy not to do it. And we think our clients are pretty solid electric car owners, and if they're not now, they very likely their next car will be. So it's really kind of a given to do that.
Is the roof designed in a way that if they wanted to put more solar on it to get further, could it be done? I noticed.
I mean, they could on this southern, well, okay. These face east and west.
Right.
The butterfly roof is relatively shallow and it's facing east-west. And so, you know, obviously we'd like to have our solar facing south, but the second best choice is straight up into the sky.
Right.
And so we are pretty much facing straight up into the sky, and we got a tiny hint of east and a tiny hint of west. And there's a lot of theories on which way you want to point them for what kind of load you want to cover. So I didn't have a problem with that. It's not impossible to put more panels on the slope sections that are coming down. I think they're going to be less efficient. We do not have south facing beyond. I mean, if she wanted to, maybe there's something in the yard we could set up. But 7.2 for her is should go quite a ways.
Okay, well, thank you for spending some time with us on the first home. We're going to be heading again down south to the riverfront to take a look at Nathan's all-electric home here, again, behind the drywall as well. So stick around for a couple more minutes with us and join us.
So most lots in Chicago are 25 by 125. This is 125 by 125. So you might see a double lot, occasionally you'll see a triple. This is unbelievably rare, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 a year in Chicago. And the unbelievable thing about this site is it's overlooking the north branch of the Chicago River, and beyond that is Horner Park. This is like a site you cannot comprehend. When you look out this way, you don't see a building. And that just doesn't happen in Chicago. I mean, you can go 15 minutes to work, you can go 5 minutes for whatever great nightlife and food. Really a special site. So the other thing is, normally when I start a project, and I'm Nate Kipnis, I'm the architect. When I start a project, we might try 3 different layouts, you know, an H shape, a linear, an L, whatever. There's no way this wasn't going to be an L. And I told the guy, it has nothing to do with what you're paying me or anything. Let's just do this because this is the right way to do it. So let's talk about this house. Typical U.S. house, detached single family in the Midwest, has an energy use intensity of 49.5 thousand BTUs per square foot per year. This house is only 66% reduction from baseline. And I'm on the National 2030 Committee in Washington, D.C. And our target for this set of years is 70%, so that by 2030 we're at 0. This house came very, very close to meeting it. The only house that we've ever had meet it is the one in Evanston. That one's at 75. But these panels that are on here, the solar panels, we have 38 panels, which is a 10.2 kilowatt system. This is by far the largest system we've ever done. Produces 12,600 kilowatt hours of power. That equates to almost $890 of savings. Only because we have dirt cheap power here in Illinois. If this was in New York, our power is about 7 or 8 cents a kilowatt. In New York, it's like 22 to 24 cents. And as they shut down the nuclear power plants, the price of power is going to go up and the savings will become much more dramatic. By putting the panels on the building, we're saving over 23,000 pounds of CO2 a year. And these other items we're saving very good amounts on. And the PV array is the equivalent of planting 4 acres of trees each year. We keep saving that much CO2. And the power that they're not getting, this is 27% of their energy. That's total energy because there's no natural gas. Keep that in mind. So the stuff that they're not getting, we have 100% green certified power. And you can all sign up for that. That's if you look online. There's 40 kilowatt hours of battery backup.
4 10 kW batteries. That's an enormous amount of power. 20 of that is dedicated to the sump pumps here, so we don't have a natural gas generator. Don't forget the river's right there. We have a very deep basement. We need to make sure this is going to work. The other 20 kW is dedicated to the garage door, the security system, the backbone of the smart home, all the refrigeration equipment, so it'll run, and then a couple key rooms, all the lights and everything, because we have all LED lights. If you look at a Tesla, for example, and you look at the number on the back of a Tesla, it'll say like a P80D, and the 80 is the kilowatt hour rating of that battery. Normally, when, let's say the car comes back from the end of the day, maybe it'll have half as much, maybe it will be a 40 kilowatt battery. We think in the next year or two, we'll be able to pull that electric car into the garage, plug it in, and power the house off the car. And we're setting up the houses to be able to do that. And also then we can charge the car up if everything's working correctly as well. This garage here is set up for 3 electric car charging stations. So we're already working on that. And then this is the house when it's finished. And I want to point out, as big as this house is, we were trying to be as careful as we could to make this look like a single family house in this section. And then this is kind of the tail of the house. It wasn't like a giant blank wall here. We wanted the rhythm of the neighborhood at least to continue. And then we have the back of the house. You see the solar panels. They're coming soon, probably in a week or 2. There's another set on the garage roof as well, which the city of Chicago just allowed, like 2 months ago. And we just scrambled. We had adjusted the garage framing to handle that. And a good thing we did. And then bam, we put those on. And like I said, half the battery is the sump pump. Well, those solar panels are going right to those batteries. And then this is an animation of the house. We're going to walk right through it. You see rain chains on the left, which are really fun. We couldn't figure out where to put the dining room, which is where you're standing. So when we come in, got this big loop up the ring, and you're looking diagonally through the site, the longest view. Then we're coming over into the kitchen and the breakfast area, straight ahead to the family room. And then we're going to go outside. Unbelievable view. That's a combination of a picture and the computer. And then that's the screen porch, which we're going to look at in a minute. And that's the house. So, kind of fun. Anyone have any questions before we move on? This house, wow, we're growing. Holy cow. All right, so this house is set up for aging in place. If you go to the Evanston house, that is 100% set up for aging in place. This allows some aspect of it. So in other words, let's say you have a ski accident. This is the office, but it could become the bedroom. That's the bathroom. We got extra big doors on the whole first floor. You can see the shower is set down a little. When it's all filled in, there'll be a 0 threshold shower, so you can wheel straight into that. I'm going to talk about the windows real quick here. So the windows are all awning or casement. Awning or casement. They're not double hung. Double hung are lap joints, which are very inefficient. You get air moving through them. With casements and awnings, you are able to crank it shut, really tightly close it. The windows are Marvin Integrity. Integrity has a fiberglass, protruded fiberglass exterior. It's just like that ladder. It's that same kind of fiberglass. 0 maintenance on the outside. Fiberglass and glass have the same coefficient of expansion, so it's just like the frame never opens up a little teeny bit. We have a low E coating on there. Low E heat sees that as a mirror, so the heat stays out or it stays in depending on the season. It's an argon fill in the window. And the most interesting thing is you can select different glass qualities. So what we did is certain orientations have different solar heat gain factors. So the windows facing west and east, we are blocking a lot of sun. The sun on the south, it's a medium amount, and on this side, it's not so bad. On the north, you don't really care. That costs next to nothing, but it really solves solar heat gain problems. So just that little smart little trick is very good to do. The mechanical system is mini splits. And that's like a new thing. Most people have never heard of that. Very popular in Japan and Far East. People have heard of geothermal. You guys heard of that? So geothermal is a ground source heat pump. So it's trying to utilize temperature, constant temperature of about 55 degrees when you go down. The problem is it's expensive. We've had very bad luck with it, but all that drilling and everything. So instead of ground source heat pump, we're using an air source heat pump. This works down to minus 20 degrees, and you would think like, wow, how could that work? How can it pull heat out of the air? On the Kelvin scale, that's actually got a lot of heat still in it. And so Mitsubishi is the company we use, they have it certified down to minus 20. I checked on the, I'm just such a geek, I checked on the weather reports for like 20 years, every day, January through March, and it's only hit minus 20, a handful of times, and it's only been an hour or two. And this house is so well insulated that it will coast through that. And I also have to say, I doubt we're ever going to see it. I don't think we're going to be down in minus 20 land.
Let's hope.
It's what?
Let's hope not.
Well, yeah. I wish it was for other reasons, but so we have 12 of these mini split systems. A lot of times these are used in very small homes. So this is being used throughout, and one of the advantages is it makes a house this big function like a very small house because we can individually set any room we're in. So he might, this office and bathroom might not be used for a week or two. So they might just throttle this room down, and not worry about it. And other rooms are being used more often. We can also, and Joe, with all his great knowledge of smart homes, so one of the things we can do is utilize a geofence. Do you guys know what a geofence is? So you use your cell phone, and let's say your cell phone is set so you're right here at 0. You can set it for whatever distance. You leave, and you go, let's say, to 2 miles, and then the thermostat knows you're now 2 miles away, and it turns everything down. And then when you're done shopping or whatever, you come back, and when you penetrate the 2 mile thing, it turns the thermostat back up. The house may have an overall thermostat that moves around by day, by hour, and then that does it even more efficient. So these are ways that we can make this house so efficient. So here's the kitchen. So I mentioned induction cooking. So induction is all electric, but it's not kind of like your father's electric cooktop with the little curly cues. This is like so high tech, so great. It heats the pan, period. And all the top chefs are using this. It's really a great system, super energy efficient. So that's here. We have a pantry, office, powder room, mud room, the rare connection to a garage in Chicago, which necessitated fire doors and concrete block to get a 3-car garage. 3 charging stations in there. One of the mini split units is right there. The great thing about this, again, it's all about the view. So the view going out there, view going out in the family room. So let's go over here. Watch out for the steps, 2 steps down here. So this is a really cool fireplace. When we do projects like this, I feel like we should make a really thick card, like a green mulligan card. Like if you want to do something that is a little different, that isn't following what maybe everything green should be, well, put it down. I want a lot of water in the shower, or I want a fireplace. A fireplace really probably doesn't have a place in a house like this. But if you're going to do one, you want it, this is really cool. This is a guillotine door. So this will go all the way down and seal this fireplace, and then we have the combustion air from outside. We're not taking the air from in here and flinging it out of the house. There's also a screen here. I wish this would only operate, actually this doesn't even need to be there. You should never use this thing. Again, the view out. Let's step outside here, watch the step, and let's not drift too far out. But, so, as Joe mentioned the last time, we're going to have great outdoor speakers and we won't even hear them. So this is a farmhouse style house, vertical boarded batten, black windows. They look like they're double hung, but they're not. That's like one of our little fun tricks we do. The roof is a metal roof. Metal roof has a 50-year life. It's locally recycled in the Midwest. It's a pack clad roof. and it has this coating called a cool roof technology, which light sees it as white or near, you know, like an off white. You always want a cool roof every season. So that's what that is. Those little spiky things on there are to prevent ice and snow from flying down. As part of the resilient strategy, if I didn't mention it already, we've got ice and water shield under the entire roof as opposed to just the bottom 2 feet. If there's a giant windstorm and it blows the roof off, we're still watertight. And then the gutters are oversized so that they can handle these big rains. The solar panels will be going on this roof and then also on the garage. You can see on the garage, these are furring strips. We've got 2 inches of rigid, expanded polystyrene, not extruded. It's the stuff up here above the doors. That's the little beads. It lets it breathe outward. The extruded is 100% airtight and vapor tight, and we really don't want that. So we've got a 2x6 wall on the interior, and we've got cellulose, fluffy cellulose in there. When it's sprayed in, or when it's put in, it's got the consistency of a bed mattress. But with this rain screen, and you can see it right here, so the rain screen is up here, and any water that gets in there will drop down. And you see the black on the bottom and the top? That's to prevent insects from getting in there, because otherwise they're going to think this is an open home. Go up behind there. So, a couple things. The house that was here, I think I mentioned, was deconstructed. Did I mention that before? Yes. Yeah. And the other thing is, when we do houses, hey, how you doing? When we do houses, we always like to incorporate natural ventilation features. So we've got 2 operable skylights here, so they're on remotes that we can open from down below. You open up some low windows and you're going to get great ventilation. I wish they would open right now. And when this is all drywalled and everything, we'll have great natural daylighting in here. So let's go into this bedroom here. Take a book right in here. All right, so let's just walk through the walls. So this is the daughter's room. So they're fraternal twins, and you don't have to record this part. Okay. No, I'm kidding. So this is like my favorite room. I think this is so cool. Great view out, diagonally again, and it's egg-shaped. I thought so appropriate for her. Rapunzel tower, the whole bit. Here's your walk-in closet, and then a little bathroom there. And then back that way, we're not going to go over there, is the brother's room, and then another bedroom, and then the bathroom there. So we had to make sure that, like, he didn't have this shape, and he doesn't have a view to the river, but we added a little loft with a window up there that looks out to the river, so he can climb up there, and that's his little added benefit. In the laundry would be the hybrid dryer, so that's the other component that we talked about. So let's go over to the master bedroom. Hey Joe? Yeah. This is like guacamole and chips down there. It's like for the 2 o'clock. Yeah, they're in that area where I was eating. Yeah, is there a table somewhere? I don't know. We'll figure something out. All right, so this is the master bedroom. And again, perfect view out. The bed's going to be right here. We've got skylights because we've got a cathedral ceiling. So these are on remotes, but notice up at the top of the skylights, the part that's taped up, that's a blackout screen. So when we do skylights in a bedroom, if you don't put the blackout screens in, you can't take a nap in the middle of the day. That's what you want to do. This is going to be a Juliet balcony, about 10 inches out. Glass railing, so we're not blocking the view, but they'll be able to put plants out here. This is a deck. The hot tub is out here. When we did the energy analysis, the hot tub and the sump pumps were the 2 big items. No surprise, but anyway, that's going to be back there. They've got a small version of this fireplace. Again, little teeny logs will probably be used in here because you're not going to want to get it too hot. Closet, master bath. Any other questions?
So there's like most mechanical up there in the attic?
There's mechanical up there, and when we designed the house originally, we had like a little mechanical room, but the insulation plane was on the ceiling, and when they saw the space up there, they moved it up to the top. So we've got closed cell foam going in up there, a little different. And that allowed us to put recessed cans in, because you can't normally put recessed cans in with, you'll be poking into the insulation, which is never good. But because that's not the insulation and that is furred down, we made the angle lower.
Okay.
We were able to get those in.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Certainty St. Gobain drywall.
Oh, so yeah, the drywall that's going in here is pretty amazing. So they have a component in the drywall. It's normal. It looks same weight, everything. 5/8 inch drywall is what we use. There's a component in there that absorbs formaldehyde. And I shouldn't say absorbs. It's like a catalytic converter. It converts the formaldehyde into an inert material. And I was like, okay, that'll last 5 years, 3 years? What is that? And they're like, no, like 50 to 75 years we'll be doing that. And then when it's done, it's just drywall. So no downside to it. I think it's a little bit more expensive, but not much. And so we're going to be utilizing it on this house.
Where can people find out more information about what you do, about this project?
Yeah, so our website is kipnisarch.com, so KIPNISARCH.com. We also have a secondary company called Next House Alliance, which is HAUS Alliance.com. That is intended for very high-end homes to be net zero and super sustainable. So we've got it all covered. Every type of house we should be able to do. So yeah. Thank you for the interview.
Yeah, and is the finished product going to be on the 2018 Tour,
Our
maybe?
concept would be that we would have maybe both of the houses we had this year on. They're both in about the same position right now.
Right.
And it would be great to have them as finished. I think for sure this one will be.
Okay, so maybe we'll be back.
That'd be great.
All right, thanks.
All right, well, I want to thank all of our sponsors, our members, our board of directors. I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Thanks to Sun Intuitive Self-Tinting Glass, Build Equinox CRV, Smart Ventilation, GeoComfort Systems, Niagara Conservation, Panasonic Ventilation, and Certainty Air and Formaldehyde Eating Drywall. Big thanks to them. For those of you looking for your continuing education credits, make sure to pass the 10-question quiz at the end and get an 80% passing rate to pick up your certificate. Join us as we tour more homes. Thank you.